We are getting close to the actual NHL draft lottery. Today we're going to run another simulation ahead of the actual lottery to see how things may work out. We actually have a new tool, courtesy of Puckpedia, that runs the lottery the way it's supposed to do with two separate draws. We'll jump onto the computer, run the lottery simulation, and conduct a mock draft coming up next. So welcome back to another video here at Top Shelf Hockey. As I mentioned, today we're doing a draft lottery simulation. The actual draft lottery will be taking place on Monday, May 5th at 7 o'clock Eastern Time from the NHL studios. We'll be live on TV for the very first time. But beforehand, we've done the occasional simulation here just to see how things would work out. And since we actually have a new tool, courtesy of Puckpedia.com, I wanted to utilize that tool here in a video and kind of promote it, and at the same time, just kind of have a little bit of fun with it as well. It's not a promoted type video where there's no compensation, there's nothing like that. I just really think it's a cool thing they've added to their site, and I want to let everybody know and make a video using it. The other one that I use, of course, is tankathon.com, also a very useful site and tool. But this one's just a little bit different. Puckpedia does things a little bit more traditional way. They would do the first lottery, where the ping pong ball is pulled, and then they do the second one, and which you'll see here on the computer in just a moment, and then we'll run a mock draft afterwards. So stay tuned. We're going to hop on the computer, go on to Puckpedia.com, run the lottery, and then we'll do the mock draft here. And of course, we'll be doing a draft lottery type video tomorrow as well with the actual results. So stay tuned for that. Let's hop on the computer and see how things work out. Okay, so here we are on the Puckpedia website. So you just go to Puck GM here over to the far right. And then on the left here, you'll see the group of menus. You just go to the draft lottery simulator. So you'll see the link here is puckgm.puckpedia.com/draft lottery. And you can use this new cool tool that they've generated. So essentially they have two separate draws, which is the way the NHL does it here. Only non-playoff teams are included. And of course, we know winners can only move up a maximum of 10 spot. Obviously, the first draw is for first overall. The highest lottery 2 winner can go is to number 2 overall, depending on where they are. So here's the lottery odds. So they have lottery 1 here, lottery 2 below, and the list of teams next to them that are in this draw. So you get the San Jose Sharks have the best odds, followed by the Blackhawks, the Predators, the Flyers, Bruins, Kraken, Sabres, Ducks, Penguins, Islanders, Penguins via the Rangers pick, the Red Wings, the Blue Jackets, Utah, Vancouver, and then Montreal via the Flames pick. That is obviously something they acquired in a trade that was in the Monahan deal a couple of years back. Now, of course, the Penguin deal here with the Rangers, that's a top 13 protected pick. If it ends up in the top 13, the Rangers can elect to transfer their 2026 pick to Pittsburgh instead. So right now it's 11th overall. The only way it's getting bumped down, of course, is 2 teams below them win both of the lotteries, which is unlikely, but you never know. It could happen. So otherwise, we don't know what the Rangers will do. I would suspect likely keep the pick, but we'll have to wait and see. Of course, the other one here in Montreal with Calgary, it's a top 10 protected pick, but the Calgary Flames also have the first round pick of the Florida Panthers from the Matthew Tkachuk trade. So basically, they're going to get whatever pick is higher here. So Calgary can transfer Calgary can transfer Florida's first round pick if Calgary's own first rounder ends up in the top 10. So if Calgary gets lucky here and moves up beyond number 10, so if they win either lottery, they'll either go, move up their 10 spots and either lottery, right? So if that happens and they're lucky, then Montreal will get the Florida pick instead. If not, they'll keep this one and select at number 16 if they don't trade it themselves, of course. So let's run this lottery here, lottery number 1. So you're going to see a ping pong ball pop up here in this box, and we'll see who the lucky winner is. First overall goes to the Nashville Predators, who move up 2 spots. So then we would do lottery number 2 for the second overall pick. Of course, now the Sharks still have the best odds of winning that one. So let's see how this works out. Lottery number 2. Winner is Chicago. So there we have it. So the Sharks have the worst luck here, and they move down 2 spots. So the Predators will pick first, followed by Chicago, followed by San Jose and so on. Work our way down the list: Philly, Boston, Seattle, Buffalo, Anaheim, Pittsburgh, Islanders, and then the Rangers via Pittsburgh. So then this pick here is still at 11. It's a top 13 protected pick. So, of course, we'd have to wait for the Rangers. I would suggest they're probably going to keep it and transfer the following year to Pittsburgh. If they don't and they decide to let it go anyways, then, of course, the Penguins are going to have two picks pretty close together there. But I suspect that probably wouldn't be the case. So now the draft lottery simulation is complete. Let's now go to the next segment here where we're going to conduct a mock draft for see which teams are going to select which prospect here at these numbers. All right, so selecting first overall, we have the Nashville Predators, and I still have them taking Matthew Schaefer here of Erie in the OHL. Still the consensus number one overall pick, dynamic defenseman. Not to say he's going to for sure, but certainly drawing some comparisons. People think he could be an impact defenseman similar to a Cale Makar, Quinn Hughes type. Like I said, I don't want to put too much pressure on the kid and say he's going to be them because I can't say that. But he is drawing some comparisons of that level. People feel he has enough skill, skating ability, and dynamic offensive skill to have that type of impact. Next up, at number 2 overall, we have the Chicago Blackhawks, and I have them selecting Michael Misa of Saginaw, the OHL. Misa at one point was by many considered to be the front runner for the first overall pick. Of course, that was a while ago. His stock kind of dropped down and it's kind of risen back up. Misa had a phenomenal season in the OHL. To me, the Blackhawks need a lot of help for Connor Bedard, and this is a darn good start. Misa 6'1", 185, had 134 points, including 62 goals and only 65 OHL regular season games. Being a center or a winger, Misa would be a phenomenal start here for the Blackhawks to really give some real solid help for Bedard. Plus, we saw some of the other prospects coming along at the end of the year for the Blackhawks. I think this could be a huge step in the right direction for them. Selecting third overall with a little bit of bad luck in this simulation was the San Jose Sharks, and I have them selecting Porter Martone. Now, there's some other options here that might be very interesting. Some people might think they'll take James Haggins, and maybe they will if they end up picking third. The odds are favorable that they would win one of the top 2 spots, but if they don't, I think Martone's a great option here. They have Celebrini, they have Will Smith. To me, this is a different kind of player that adds a different dynamic. Obviously, he's a player with a lot more size, 6'3", 207 already, where Haggins is a little bit smaller. Celebrini's not real small, but he's not big either. Smith is obviously on a little smaller stature. Adding a player like Martone gives him a new element, somebody who can be a really good playmaker and goal scorer, putting up 37 goals and 61 assists for 98 points in the OHL this year. I think could be a great addition and a different type of player that the Sharks don't already have. Next up at 4th overall, we have the Philadelphia Flyers, and I have them selecting from the queue in the Moncton Wildcats, Caleb Desnoyers. Now, this might be a controversial pick by some people's opinions. I really like the pick. I mean, is Desnoyers better than James Haggins? Well, it depends on who you ask. Some people think he's comparable. Some people don't. But I'll tell you this. Desnoyers is having a phenomenal season. 84 points in 56 games in the regular season. Having a phenomenal run in the QMJHL playoffs. The Wildcats are through to the League Championship Series now. Desnoyers is already 6'2", 175. He'll add a little bit more muscle to that frame. To me, he's a player that I think Briere might be more willing to take a chance on. I wonder, and it's just me with the Flyers, having the whole Cutter Gauthier situation, the connection to BC, where Haggins plays. I just wonder if there's any way they shy away from that. I don't know if there's any influence there. But all that aside, Desnoyers to me is a heck of a player and could be a very impactful player that might be just as good of a career as Haggins anyway. So we'll see. Some people might think Desnoyers is a little bit high, but I think the Flyers end up in the 4 spot. This would not be shocking for me. In this simulation, we have the 5th overall Boston Bruins, and I would then have them selecting James Haggins. I don't think Haggins is going to slide too far down the draft here, but depending on how things go with the order of selections, I can see a scenario where maybe he goes down to this spot. I can also see a scenario where maybe Mike Grier and the Sharks take him as well. It really boils down to the order of the selections. But the Bruins at 5, if Haggins is there, they're taking him. Of course, a player who they can easily could have scattered a ton this year, being so close to where they are. Hagens, of course, has the ability to be a dynamic center, and center to me is the probably biggest need for them. Because at this point in the draft, you're selecting based on who you think's the best player, but it also really fits a positional need in the organization as well. So Hagens won't get by the Bruins if he's still available at 5. At 6, we have the Seattle Kraken, and I have them selecting Swedish prospect Anton Frondell. Now, Frondell to me just seems like a Ron Francis type of player. I know he's moved up to be the president now, and Jason Botcher will be technically making the last decision here, but I'm sure they'll do this as a group. It's a big deal. Frondell to me feels like a real good player to add to the mix, where they've drafted guys like Beniers and Shane Wright. Frondell obviously a little bit different type of player, and should fit what they're going with here to add a new type of element and new type of prospect here into what they're trying to build in Seattle. At 7 overall, we have the Buffalo Sabres, and I have them selecting Victor Eklund. Now, Eklund to me was probably a good fit and one of the better players available at this spot if indeed the Sabres were to pick 7. Had 31 points in 42 games playing in Sweden this past year. 5'11", 161. He's going to have to add some muscle and kind of finish filling out and growing up a little bit here before he makes the jump to the NHL. But to me, the Sabres are a team that they're trying to get to the playoffs right now. I wouldn't be shocked if Buffalo even trades this pick, to be completely honest. But if they do end up using it, they can be, they don't need another young player at 18 years old jumping into their lineup. They can afford to be patient here and take a player who they feel will be impactful in a year or two time. At number 8 overall, we have the Anaheim Ducks, and I have them selecting Roger McQueen from the Brandon Wheat Kings of the Western Hockey League. McQueen is a big boy, 6'5", 192. Unfortunately, missed a lot of games this year due to injury. Only appeared in 17 regular season games, but he put up 20 points, including 10 goals, 10 assists. If you look at the Ducks and the way they like to play, certainly Pat Verbeek, I think, will really appreciate his combination of size and skill here. Certainly, I think the size alone with the skill set will be very attractive to a Ducks team who's looking to build that type of player. So to me, if you look at what's available at this pick, if McQueen is still on the board, I think the Ducks grab him. I could see a scenario where he goes a couple of picks higher as well. It kind of boils down to who's making the selections. At 9, we have the Pittsburgh Penguins, and I have them selecting Jake O'Brien from the OHL's Brantford team, putting up 98 points at a phenomenal regular season, 32 goals, 66 assists in the OHL. Got pretty good size, 6'2", 170, so he's not far off from being, that having that NHL size and strength. According to a lot of scouts and the probabilities, his odds of being an NHLer are pretty high, and I think his odds of being a top 6 NHLer look to be pretty good as well. There's no perfect formally here to say for sure, but he shows all the signs of being a right shot top 6 forward, and Pittsburgh certainly needs more of these for the future, for the years that come after Crosby and Malkin are done playing. At 10, we have the New York Islanders, and I have them selecting a defenseman and ending this run of forwards here, Jackson Smith. Jackson Smith, of course, playing in the Western Hockey League for the Tri-City Americans, already has pretty good size and strength at 6'3", 190. Has a good flair for the offensive game, 54 points in 68 games. I would think that the hope would be he would project to be a top 4 two-way D-man is what the NHL scouts are hoping he will become and think he can become. So to me, the Islanders really need a little bit of everything here. They don't have a deep prospect pool. They're kind of starting fresh with a new regime. We don't know who the GM is going to be just yet. But, they're going to have options here. If this draft goes the way this one has, they could go with a guy like Smith. They could go with, a Radim Murtka. They could go with a Carter Bear. It's kind of difficult to say. But at the end of the day, they're going to have a lot of different options here. And I think, personally, Jackson Smith makes a ton of sense because, like I said, I think he's the best available player at this pick based on how this draft has gone. So that is our first ever draft lottery simulation using this new tool courtesy of Puckpedia. I certainly hope you enjoyed it. Certainly check out the site, run some lottery simulations yourself just for fun. Of course, let me know in the comments who you think is the team that needs and deserves this first overall pick more than any other team, and let me know your thoughts on some of the prospects and the placements that we did here with our mock draft as well. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll catch you next time.